Okay, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us this morning or evening, wherever you might be coming in from. My name is Matt Cornwell. I am the Associate Director for Student Services in the Saunders College of Business. So today we are starting kind of a new series that we developed recently, the MBA and Grad Chat series. Today's session is going to focus on faculty and program director kind of roundtable. So we have a couple of our faculty members here and a few of our staff members as well. So we're going to kind of jump into some kind of scripted questions that we have for you all, just based on feedback and information that we generally like to share with students. And then we'll open it up for Q&A towards the back half of the session. Feel free to ask any questions that you have. We certainly welcome those. I would encourage you to, if you are able to, turn your camera on. That just, is more conducive to that connection, interaction, and things like that. If not, totally fine. And feel free to use the chat feature for putting in your questions if you have anything and want to answer anything. And then also, anyone that needs captioning, you can turn that on towards the bottom of the screen here. There's a selection there where you can add the captioning services if you do need those. It's not an actual live transcript, but or I shouldn't say that. It's not a prompted live transcript, but it is auto-generated, so it's pretty accurate. So if you do want those, feel free to add those in there as well. All right, so I would like to start just introducing our faculty members that are here today. So Archana, if I could just throw it to you, and then Malar after that.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. So I'm Archana Jain. I'm the faculty in the finance department, finance and accounting, and I'm the department chair as well, and the program director for our accounting programs. And I teach mostly investments and corporate finance to graduate students, and I also teach intro to finance to the undergrad students.
Thanks, Archana. Hello, everybody. Good morning, good evening. I'm Malar Hiridayaraj. I'm in the Department of Management, and I am the program director for Technology Innovation Management and Entrepreneurship, or the MS TIME program, as well as MS OLI, or MS in Organizational Leadership and Innovation program. I teach leading innovation, leading change, and technology and the future of work.
And then Peggy, if you just want to jump in as well, just so folks can put a face to a name too, with applications, all that good stuff.
Sure, thank you. I'm Peggy Terrell. I'm the Senior Associate Director for the Graduate Business Programs, and I work very closely with our faculty on the admissions process. So welcome, everyone.
Thank you. And Lisa, I know you're just in the background, but if you just want to say hi as well, and then we'll get rolling.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lisa Boyce. I'm the Assistant Dean for Student Services here at Saunders College of Business, and have the privilege of working with all these fine people. So welcome.
All right, so we'll get started here. We have a group of about 5 questions, but again, I really do want to keep this conversational. So if you have anything that you want to jump in on as we converse here and go through these various questions, definitely feel free to jump in. And again, unmute yourself, ask in the chat box, whatever works for you. But let's start with this first one. It's a short question, but it's certainly an important one. For Archana and Malar, why ultimately do you feel students should come to the Saunders College of Business for graduate study?
Okay, so I'll go first, and then Malar, you can add anything you want. So Saunders, as we say, we are a small school at a large university. That's our one strong feature that we have. So unlike you go to some big colleges, you are sitting in a classes with 100 students. But here our class sizes are usually 20, 25 for grad students, sometimes even smaller. So we know you personally, we give you personal attention, we make sure you don't fall through cracks, we keep an eye on you, you cannot disappear on us. So that's one big factor. And then you have a huge team of advisors that are helping you throughout to make sure that you are taking the right classes, you are graduating on time, and you are taking the classes which are appropriate for your career goals. So you have a team from student services, then as faculty and program director, we guide you as well, that what are the electives that you should take. So you have a whole support team in place. So, and again, tech is our big focus. So before I get into the program specific level, let's see if Malar has anything to add at the college level, and then I can talk more details about why accounting and finance at Saunders. So Malar. You're muted, Malar.
Yes, as Archana mentioned, we are a small college in a big university, but in addition to the advantages that Archana mentioned of being in a small college in a business in a bigger university, I would also touch upon the kind of we are at the intersection of technology and business, right? So that RIT being a technology university, we have the advantage of building off the technology base that we have within the business school. So that is why specifically, if you look at the TIME program and the OLI, or the Organizational Leadership and Innovation program, we are able to kind of leverage the technology base that we have from a very business perspective. And unlike huge colleges, we are able to offer more experiential learning, right? And we also are able to offer specific experiences and opportunities for students that other colleges may not be able to offer. For instance, we have a huge Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, where students can, try out their entrepreneurial goals, and you are able to design new products and learn how to generate capital for your business ideas, etc. We also have state-of-the-art laboratories, all the software you need. It's a very, very digital campus. So from product design to CAD to CNC mills, we have an entire array of technology available for you. And RIT is cutting edge when it comes to innovation as well, right? So we have a great mix of technology, business orientation, and an innovative mindset, and the ability to connect with alumni. Like we've had alumni for many years, and who are across the world and do different things. So we have a very strong alumni relations program that allows you to connect with alumni while you pursue your passion. So I would say, in terms of experience, in terms of the combination of business, technology, and innovation, and the possibilities of connecting with people who have made it big in this through this program, that I think is a major factor that kind of differentiates us.
So the picture behind Malar is our Simone Center for Entrepreneurship. That's where the cool stuff happens. So building on what Malar said, our alumni network is very strong. We have, I think, over 25,000 alums, and they're all connected. They all want to come back to campus and meet students. They're willing to do class visits. They're willing to do one-on-one mentoring, and they come for networking events. So we have lots of opportunity for students to connect with the alumni, and that's how the job market works. So we push on from very early on the networking side, and we facilitate that for you. Matt, is it okay for me to go into accounting, finance specific, why Saunders in that aspect, or?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So specifically in terms of accounting and finance, as Malar said, all our classes are experiential, hands-on learning. We include projects in every single class. For our accounting program, you have a capstone project that you work on. We have a local firm here, Bonadio, which is a public accounting firm. They give a data set, and then they give you a problem that you will be solving on, of course, directed by faculty. So that's your capstone real project that you work on a actual company's data set. And then we have more opportunities, like we have accounting career fair, specifically designed only for accounting students, because their hiring season and hiring is a little bit different than the overall job market. So we cater to those needs. We have accounting banquet once a year, where you get to meet with accounting professionals from around Rochester local, as well as international or national, because they come, the members of the advisory board do visit us. So those are some specifics that I wanted to highlight in accounting side. But on finance side, we have a Bloomberg lab. So this is a must for any business school, I would say. We have a terminal, we have 12 terminals, so you can go and play with it as you like, but you also are going to finish a Bloomberg Market certificate, which just adding that in your resume is a great strength for the financial analyst type of job. If you want to go not in the corporate world, but more in the investment side, you can have great benefits from learning Bloomberg and claiming that you have been familiarize yourself with the Bloomberg and you have gotten the certification. We have FMA Club, which is the Financial Management of Association Club. So that is the student managed funds. Apart from networking opportunity, they have a portfolio of $250,000, which is managed by students. So you get to participate in those club meetings. You can be a member of the board if you want, or not. If you want to just go and listen, you can do that. Any student is allowed to pitch a stock like, oh, I think you should buy the stock of Amazon. Why? And you can do that and the members will vote and then they decide if you should go ahead or not. So that's a good, again, hands-on experience in terms of real-world investment. And our courses are very much aligned with the CPA and CFA materials. So it prepares you towards that route if you want to go into the certification path. So those are a couple of things that I wanted to highlight. Yeah.
Thank you, Archana. From my side, I would say I would like to talk about both programs that I manage, the Technology Innovation Management and Entrepreneurship, or the TIME program, as well as the Organizational Leadership and Innovation program. When it comes to the TIME program, it is you have two tracks. You can take the management track or you can take the entrepreneurship track. In both tracks, the focus is going to be innovation, which is fueled by technology, arts, and design. So we kind of build off all the strengths that RIT has. So when you are in the program, you will learn to develop your entrepreneurial thinking, right? So how do you think through an idea, take an idea from an idea stage to a product stage. So you will learn how to develop products, and you will learn to analyze the market and understand customer needs and interests. And you will also learn innovation strategy and managing the entire innovation process. So the technology entrepreneurship track teaches you to start and manage new ventures. So if you have a very strong entrepreneurial streak in you, so this will allow you to kind of hone your entrepreneurial skills. And you will also learn to utilize research and marketing analytics to evaluate what kind of options you have and how you can develop strategies to make that happen, to take your idea from an idea stage to a product or service stage. So we also know that, and both programs, the TIME and the OLI programs are kind of new, and those are designed on the needs of the changing world, right? We are very much aware of the changes that are happening in terms of technology in the world and the technology affordances, or what technology is available to people. And we try to kind of keep it very, I would say, market-oriented or employer-oriented and innovation-oriented. We also give you skills where you will have real-life business exposure and where you can leverage RIT's network and work with alumni and entrepreneurs, local entrepreneurs, who will teach you how to go about developing your idea. And in the Simone Center, you can kind of think through your startups, commercialize your products, and learn about risk capital, right? So how do you generate money, and how do you generate finances for your program or your idea? And in terms of curriculum, Matt, is it possible for me to share a screen?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. When it comes to the technology innovation program, Yeah, so you will go through whether you take the technology track, or depending on whether you go to the technology track or the entrepreneurship track, you will learn the fundamentals of managing a startup and a project. You will learn to lead teams, manage innovation, and develop technology strategies. Applied, you will learn about venture creation, and you also have an array of electives that you can choose from, focusing on data and analytics, as well as management and commercialization of products. So it's a kind of a good mix of strong innovation management base, plus an entrepreneurial and a product development and management base. When it comes to the organizational leadership program, we focus on preparing you to lead innovation projects, manage innovation ventures within organizations, whether you are in a very innovative organization or in a traditional organization which wants to move towards innovation, right? So we prepare you to work with technology. We kind of anticipate what kind of technology is in the world and how that will affect your work in the future as managers, as leaders. We also teach you how to foresee the kind of innovation that is down the road. We teach you to identify weak signals and build off it. We also teach you to lead not just the technical aspects of innovation, but the people aspects of innovation. How do you lead an innovative team, right? We also teach you to lead people and negotiate. So it's a kind of the organizational leadership program kind of gives you the basic skills to be creative and innovative. It also gives you the innovation management and leading innovation perspective, plus other skills that you need as a leader. So this program is technically focused on preparing you to lead in organizations, specifically in innovation contexts. Matt, thank you.
Yep, sure thing. So I want to stop there for just a minute. Does anybody have questions from the audience at this point?
I see some chats. Charles has added some things in the chat. Yes, and the technology innovation management program is also STEM designated, as Charles mentions in the chat, which means you get the STEM designation, which allows you longer occupational practical training, or OPT sessions, OPT years. So.
And that is true for most of our master's program. Both accounting and finance are STEM designated. So that will allow you 29 months of OPT after graduation.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, so every program under our umbrella is STEM designated outside of the fully online program. So OLI being one that isn't STEM designated, but we've worked pretty hard to bring that together going forward, including the MBA being STEM designated at this point.
Matt,
Okay,
there is a question on chat.
Okay, I'm not, for some reason.
I'm not seeing any chat.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any chat questions.
I can read the question for you. I'm able to, for some reason, I'm able to see the chats.
Unless it's a direct message to you, that's why.
Maybe, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that might
I
be
think
why.
it might be. So it says, I have queries with the time program. Should I address them now or at the end? Matt, how would you like us to proceed?
Let's save those for the end as we work into some of the Q&A pieces. But we can certainly, and if you want to throw that question, whoever asked it, in the chat, just so we all can see it, and then I can have those ready to go.
Okay.
Towards the end here. Okay, so the next question that we'd like to discuss here, as I'm sure many of you, and frankly, many of you might be at different stages in the process. Some of you may be applying. Some of you may just be starting your search. Some of you may be admitted already. But I do want to focus on components of what we are looking for from a graduate business school applicant, or conversely, what are we looking for in an ideal student, specifically coming into the program. So Archana, if you just want to touch on that a bit.
Okay. So again, we accept student with pretty much any background. So that is not the concern. We are here to teach you. We are here to explain everything that you may not know. That's not a problem. But what we are looking for is a holistic approach on application. But other than that, the key is you should be driven. You should be proactive. So just to give very specific examples of if you're struggling, let's say in the class, you reach out to the professor. Don't wait until you have an exam. And let's say if I ask you to practice these questions and you're like, oh, this was optional, I'm not doing it. But that's preparing you again for the material that, so being proactive, reaching out to people, networking, those are the key skills, in a graduate program, if you expect to just sit in the class quietly in the back, it's not going to work. We have so many events on campus where we invite the alums and industry professionals, and we want you to take advantage of that, because that's how you, as I said before, also networking is the key piece in getting a job. So we want you to be upfront and reach out to people who are relevant and not just sit back and just listen to the lectures. So that's what I would say, that very driven, proactive, and so on. So Malar, maybe you want to add something?
Yes, yeah, definitely. Whatever you said makes absolute sense. We want students who are passionate about whatever they are doing. We want students who are driven and hungry for more. We want students who want to learn, right? And as grad students in the United States, you are expected to be proactive, not sit back and wait for things to happen. In addition, we also expect students to bring something to the classroom, in the sense that it is not, graduate education is not necessarily always teacher driven, right? We learn so much from peers, their experiences that they bring, right? So when you have people with a couple of years of experience in the classroom, or more work experience in the classroom, the discussion becomes really rich. The examples and the skills they bring to the classroom become extremely rich. So any experience, part-time, full-time, that you bring into the program will be extremely useful for you and for your peers as well. That is something we really value, and we are here to teach you. But at the same time, you have to reach out. You have to be able to apply. We want students who can take what we teach in the classroom and be able to apply in real life situations. And our courses, we would talk about it maybe later, are very hands-on and project oriented, or problem solving oriented. So we want students who are analytical, who can think through, not just in terms of being very good numerically. We also want people with very strong analytical skills, because you are going to manage projects, you're going to lead projects. That is what we are preparing for. So you should develop and demonstrate analytical and leadership skills as well.
Great, thank you. Appreciate that. And then I think this is an appropriate time to touch on some of the specifics here with a couple of questions that were asked. So minimum GPA requirement, we don't really have one that we advertise. I mean, I think a 3.0 on a 4.0 scale is appropriate, but we're looking at things holistically, as Archana said. So particularly for international students where the GMAT and GRE is required, GMAT or GRE, I should say, if you have a lower GPA and you offset that with a strong GMAT or GRE score, that's going to certainly help you from that standpoint. So with that said, we do require the GMAT or GRE for international students or students that haven't earned a degree in the US. No work experience requirements for our MS programs. If you have some, that's great. It can help, and it can, help bring some stuff to the table, additional, pieces to the table, but it's not required. And for the IELTS, we look for scores no lower than 6.5. We prefer a 7.0. TOEFL is no lower than 88, but we do prefer like a 92. So somewhere in that range is kind of what we look for with those. And then with that, scholarships are absolutely a factor as well. So we award merit-based scholarships in terms of based on the review of your application. So that's a factor as well when we go through the process. And Peggy, go ahead.
Just add, basically, again, to build off of everything, we are trying to take a holistic approach, and through the application process and the data that students present to us, we're trying to look at indices that seem to show us the likelihood of your success in a program. So we try to take a positive approach to admissions in terms of looking at what you present to say, you know, how strong is this potential applicant to the program, as opposed to a negative approach of, did you hit specific numerics we either accept or reject? So to add to that, one of the things that I think is really beneficial for students is when they're writing their statement of purpose, to write it from the heart, to write it sincerely. We read too many that individuals have gone to organizations to have them either write for them or sort of proof and work with them. Write from your heart and show us that passion, that interest, and the other dimensions that Professor Jane and Professor Herendage presented to you.
And I shared the tuition with the student asking the question there. So keep that in mind. The other piece is the scholarship range is generally about 20 to 50% of tuition. And again, it's based on specifically a review of your application through that process. And that's correct, right? The GMAT is not required for domestic students or students from the US that have completed a degree in the US. Yes, the IELTS or TOEFL is mandatory. There's off instances where we waive it, but if you have specific questions on that, you can reach out to me directly. Okay, so let's take a look at the next question here. And then we'll give about 5 or 10 minutes more, and then we'll open it up again for Q&A at the end. How are grad classes taught within our program? And can you share an example of a typical graduate course?
Okay, so I'll talk about the class that I'm teaching currently. It's FINC 721, which is financial analysis for managers. So as we said, it is very project-driven, hands-on experience, and we want you to apply the knowledge in the real world. So this is the project, this is the class where we introduce the concept of what are the managers doing in the business, what kind of decisions they are making, and the concept of time and money and so on. So in this class, for example, I have about 7 projects. So one is, for example, is a project that where you analyze the ratios of the financial ratios of 2 companies. So you download the data yourself, and then you look at each and every ratio and you compare the financial health, which company is doing better in regard to each ratio, and then overall conclusion of which one is a good investment. So that's one. Then we have a retirement planning project where you say, if I want to have a good retirement life, if I want to have the same purchasing power that I have while working, you know, what should be my retirement income, and working backwards, how much do I save every month to earn that retirement goal when I'm not working. So that's another. And then we have a project that should you buy a machine? So what will be the cash flows generated from this machine, and am I going to make money? So this is similar to any project that you're talking about. Do I launch a product? Do I buy a machine? Do I expand my business in a new region? And so on. So those are all, that's the capital budgeting project. And then we have a couple others. So just wanted to give you a couple examples that whatever concept we are teaching, I try to incorporate a project in them. It's a lot of work. Again, that's the goal, to keep up, you know, to actually be able to apply the material. Just quickly, in my other investment class, for example, where we more go into in-depth into the investment side, there I have a project on evaluate a company altogether. So start from the top level, macroeconomic factor, domestic economy, then industry, and then company, and then within the company, the financial, and then you tell me, should I buy should I sell or should I do nothing about the investment in that company? So those are the projects. So it's all as we teach, all the examples that we talk about in class are real life projects. So I talk about diversification, then I show, not show, but I tell how I have diversified my portfolio. When we talk about how do I move from one industry to others, so I have talked about how I moved my portfolio from, let's say, technology driven heavy to maybe airline heavy when we were in the COVID era, because hopefully the airline industry will come back and so on. So I talk a lot about all the relevant real life experiences, and we make you work on the projects that you can apply the knowledge that you learn in the class on those projects. Okay.
Sounds very interesting, Archana. So, yeah, in my class, I teach leading change, leading innovation, for example. In both classes, we use a lot of projects. In leading change, we also use a simulation to give you an idea. Simulation is the next step from a case study, right? So it allows you to apply concepts that you learned on the course in a real life scenario, and you get a responses immediately whether something worked or not, and then you learn by engaging with the simulation as to what works and what would work in this particular context, etc. So in leading innovation, we do projects all the time. We make it the focus, as I mentioned earlier, the focus of the course is on how do you lead an innovation process, people, from a people perspective, from a strategy perspective, etc. So every student has to come up with innovations that they see are necessary for their own organizations or their industry, regardless of the industry you come from. You may come from the banking industry or the hotel industry or whatever your background is. So you start thinking about innovations that are possible within your industry and within your organization. Where do you see innovation happening or being required? Then you think through the process and come up with a strategy for making that innovation possible, from an idea to implementing an innovation. And then you also think through the kind of challenges a leader will have to engage with in the process of leading this innovation. So how do you handle dealing with whatever is going well right now, what we call box one, right? So the present, some projects, some products, some services that are going well for you right now. And then how do you give up projects or practices or habits or the thinking processes that are not productive from whatever was productive in the past, but not so now. And then we also think about in real life context, what is the next step? So how do we combine what is working well? Because no industry is going to be able to shut shop and say, I'm going to do something new, right? So you have to balance what you're doing now and also think about how do I prepare for the future? What is my next product or project or service? So we think through this process. When I recall the kind of project students did, depending on where you are, we had a student from who manages a baseball stadium, right? So he came up with, they were thinking about the reducing viewership, right? So people coming to the stadiums are going down. So they were coming up with ideas to, in terms of innovation, how do you engage the younger generation of sports lovers? What kind of changes do you need to make? What innovation is required to make a sports spectatorship and viewership possible and retain spectators? And we have another group which worked on innovation in the hospitality industry, right? So if you work in the hotels or the tourism industry, what kind of innovation would be useful there? So depending on, like, a lot of students also think about higher education. So what kind of innovation would be possible, and they think through all the stages of the innovation project process as part of their the project. So every class that we teach is project driven. Every, it's absolutely real life application oriented.
Thank you, Malar. Appreciate that. All right, so I'm going to jump into our last question here, and then we'll open it up here for Q&A. And again, be prepared with any questions you have, and we can certainly answer those. What does placement look like within RIT and Saunders College? And I think it's really important to know for those that aren't familiar with RIT and Saunders, or maybe you're familiar from afar, one of our key components is the career outcomes that we provide with students. That's a big, big part of what we do very, very well at RIT. And with that, our outcomes rate is right around 95% across all of Saunders, and that holds true across a lot of RIT. So Archie and Malar, if you can just hit on potential examples that you've seen students go to from an employer standpoint, position standpoint, and things like that.
Right. So as Matt said, we pride ourselves. We try to place students very well, and then we have strong group of alums who are willing to engage and hire our students. So I looked at the last 4 years of data based for our programs and where they're going, and they're both local and national level. So we have a lot of good firms locally. So in terms of local, we have Paychecks. I don't know if you know, are familiar with that. This is a company that manages the payroll for many other firms. We have Bonadio and Mengel, Metzger, Bar and Company, EFPR. These are all our local public accounting firms. So from accounting and finance, people go to these local firms, but internationally also we have Big Four, they hire from us. So Ernst & Young, Pricewaterhouse. In terms of finance side, we have Citibank, BNY Mellon, Amazon, Simmons. So these are all the company. So we have both local and national present. We have strong group of alums that are helping us, as well as the career services are working hard in that aspect. So those are some of the employers that I looked at last 4 years of data. And it's a long list. I just picked a couple names that might be familiar to everyone. Yeah.
Yes. For the time program, both time and OLI kind of are relatively new in terms of number of years that they've been running. But we do have interns, and we do have full-time placements in different companies, both local and national. We have students placed in local chains, and we also have students placed in retail industry. For instance, we have students who work at a much higher level in terms of energy, in terms of innovation in bigger chains. So we have a wide variety of industries that students go to, from insurance to retail to different areas of product development companies as well. So depending on your interest and your background, there are opportunities for you to go into a lot of areas, I would say.
There's a question from George. You said give it more scope in terms of placement, in terms of curriculum or job opportunity. Can you please clarify a little more? I'd be happy to answer that. And you can unmute yourself and talk if you want, or type, whichever one is better. School curriculum. Okay. So in terms of finance, let me see if I can share my screen with you.
And Archana, before we jump in there, Shaw just sent me a note. So we did have a student with an MS Time program. She started a local Tai Chi chain. So that's just an example of somebody who leveraged the nuts and bolts of that program, right, being entrepreneurial, into her own business. And I will recommend, and I can share this link, but on our website, it can be a little tricky to get to, but there's a lot of profiles of our alumni. So definitely use that. Their LinkedIn profiles are also attached to those profiles. So explore that a little bit, get a sense of what those individuals are, who they are, programs are coming from, and don't limit your scope just to the programs you're of interest. Look at things like the MBA. Where are some of those students gone? Because there's definitely overlap there. So, get a sense of that, and I can certainly share that link here in a second, but that's an important one to look at as you kind of move forward.
Okay, so I'm going to just share the link. I don't need to share the website that you can look at later, but just to talk about the curriculum. So the idea is we prepare you for both types of job. In finance, you can go into the corporate world, or you can go into the, so we say corporate finance versus investments. So corporate finance is where you work for companies' finance department. It's not necessarily a finance company. Every company has a finance department, like for example, Amazon or tech company, airline company, whichever one you name it. And then we have a investment side, which is where the financial analysis, Wall Street, we call it, comes into picture. So our curriculum kind of prepares you for both. So if you look at it, it talks about, we have equity analysis, debt analysis. So again, if you want to go into equity versus fixed income, you have that choice. We focus on analytics a lot. So financial analytics also is part of that. Data management and analytics is part of that. And then algorithmic trading, if you want to go to that route. So we give you a little bit of taste of algorithmic trading. Then we have our financial management too, which is again, just the management side of it. So not necessarily the investment side of it. And then we have finance in a global environment. So all kinds of us. So corporate finance, international finance, investment side. So all aspects are covered and in the main curriculum, but then you can go into the electives and you can see a list of electives where you can get further into some of the course, area that you are interested in. This is where you and I can have a conversation once you're here that, okay, this is what I've taken as required courses. Now that's my career goal. And given this career goal, what are the electives that will suit to my, expectations. So that's on the finance side. On accounting side, again, you can go into the corporate world, or you can go into the public accounting side, which is we have courses on tax, we have courses on auditing, and again, we focus on analytics there as well. So you have data analytics, because even in accounting, there's a huge data that people are trying to understand and process, and how can we make better decisions with the knowledge that we have from our financial statements and from the competitors' data and so on. So we have all aspects of the CPA exam. Not that I'm claiming that you will be ready to take, but we prepare you in that direction, that we will have financial analysis, we have auditing, we have tax course, and then we have now, I'm not sure if you're aware, the CPA exams are changing and they will become very tech heavy, or there is one aspect of it. So the fourth section can split into IT side. So that's our strength. And we are trying to incorporate that into our curriculum, that in each subject, how can we incorporate more technology? And then we have minors, electives that you can take from all over RIT, not just Saunders College of Business. So let's say if you're interested in forensic accounting, let's say invested in fraud and cybersecurity and accounting in related to that. So there are options in those on those directions as well. Okay.
Yeah, and we have I have also posted the link. I mean, I don't want to get into the details about what kind of roles you can get into in both the time and the organizational leadership and innovation program. So I have posted links which will take you to the kind of jobs that you can, or job titles you can apply to when you complete this program.
Thank you both. Appreciate it. I do just want to highlight Malik's question as well regarding the MBA, because I'm sure there's more than one of you, considering that as an option. Does the MBA have concentrations available, like something like supply chain or MIS? So we no longer have specific concentrations. However, you can certainly customize a pathway with your electives that will allow you to basically do that, more or less. So 3 of the electives in the MBA program are STEM designated courses and 2 are free electives. So you can build a specific area that you want to hone in on via those elective courses. The other component is there are MS programs in those areas, specifically supply chain, global supply chain management. So if you really want to drill down deeper into a specific area and content area, the MS program might be a better option, because that can get you, those, 8 to 10 courses specifically in supply chain, right? Whereas the MBA, again, just kind of high level, it's a generalist degree and you're drilling down deeper via the electives to get that focus area. So definitely options there. And the nice thing with a lot of our programs, there's at least 2 or 3 elective options. And as Archana said, you can build in what you may want to focus on and add value to that degree on with those electives and building in what specifically is going to work for you. So some have more than others, like the MS in finance. That program is driven by electives. That is, there's 6 of the 10 courses are elective based. So so there's certainly flexibility across a decent amount of the programs as well. All right, so other questions that folks have?
Yeah, am I audible?
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Yes, please do.
Yes. Shubhankar here. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
I'm joining from India and thank you for the admit. So I will be joining the time program. So I had doubts with respect to time program. So can I ask them?
Sure, please go.
Yeah. So in the website, it says that the program is of 1 year, right? Consisting of 2 semesters. But technically in US, you need 9 months for a co-op. So how are we supposed to like complete the co-op as well as the graduate? So that's my first doubt.
Can I answer that, Malar, for you?
Yes, please, Peggy.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Peggy.
Actually, Shubhankar, the program is a 12-month, 1-year program. So we have built into the curriculum the opportunity for a student to take full-time coursework during the fall and spring terms, which makes them then eligible to do a co-op during the summer and complete their degree program in the fall.
Okay, understood.
And
Right.
Shubhankar, we met previously, correct? So
Right.
yeah, so when we had met, you do have to complete 2 semesters of study before starting the co-op. I think that's what you were alluding to with the 9 months.
Right.
Yeah, so you'll have those 2 month or 2 semesters of coursework. Then you can jump into that co-op experience and then finish up the following fall term.
Okay. So also the I-20 that is issued by the university, is it does it mention that the course is of 1 year or it is of 2 years? So like I have the option of extending my course, right?
You do, yes, and we can work with you on that. I think the I-20 is actually it spans 2 years, right?
2
So
years.
there is the
Okay.
flexibility within that, and that's intentional to give you time needed
Yeah.
for that.
Yes,
Yeah.
so
Alright.
so you can take it slightly slower, but if you want to fast track, that's also possible. That is what
Okay.
it mentions.
All right. And about the career roles that I'll be getting or I'll be landing after completing my master's. So I had this doubt. If I want to land up in a consultancy firm, right? So is it possible to land up in a consultancy firm after the time program?
Yes, it is possible, depending on the kind of background. If you have work experience, I haven't seen your application, so I don't know what your background is. So if you have experience or background in consulting, or if you have experience in a particular industry, yes, you can go to go work in a consulting firm.
I have 2 years experience in automobile industry. So,
Mhm.
but
So
I want to, yeah, yes, ma'am.
go ahead.
But I want to steer my career towards sort of strategy and consultancy, not limit my domain towards in automobile. I wanted to expand. So, like, is it possible?
Yes, it is. It is possible, depending on the kind of electives that you have chosen and the kind of the area of coursework that you have completed. Yes, it is possible to apply for a consulting apply to a consulting company, but obviously, because you don't have experience in consulting, you may have to start and build your career within the consulting industry, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay, understood. So I had,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
There is
Shubhankar,
definitely a
just to
possibility.
just to add on what Malar said, so once you come here and you know this is the route you want to go in, and these are the couple of companies that you want to work in, we give you the access to the alumni network once you're here. So you can start connecting with them. You can message, oh, you work in this company. This is where I want to work too. Would you be able to just chat with me for 10 minutes, have a cup of coffee if you're local, or, and that's how you find out, build the connections right from day one. That's what if you already know. If you don't know, that's fine. But if you know, that's what I suggest, that, start reaching out to people who are working in the company where you want to work. I mean, alums who are working.
Okay. And about the career fairs that we have, so I have heard that the career fairs in RIT is a pretty big deal. Like good companies come and they look forward to hiring for co-ops as well as full-time. But are they related to tech domains, or they come from management profile as well?
For both. So primarily they are, to disclaimer, yes, they do look for tech sector. That's what RIT is known for, but they hire for both. And we are trying to, every way, we are trying to improve that aspect of it, that we are trying to highlight that, well, we are here, business students, and they are equally good as our IT students are. So we have been working over the years. We continue to work on that aspect of building the relationship with them. But you are right that the tech is their focus, but every tech company needs a manager. Every tech company needs a financial person, right? So we just here highlighting it to them.
Yeah, I think that's really important for everybody to understand, is the interdisciplinary nature of RIT, and the scope and the different overlap that occurs at a variety of things, including the career fair and including at the Simone Center. I mean, you can get great opportunities to connect with folks from outside of the College of Business, and that can lead to great opportunities down the road for you, and networking, which is huge. That's a huge piece of going back to the question of, the ideal student we look for. That hungriness, we want to see that through the networking, through pushing yourself from a career standpoint. That's what we want to see in students. So I think that's an important thing to understand as well.
Yeah, to add on to what Archana and Matt said, Shubhankar, you seem to be very clear in what you want to do. So that's a great advantage, right? So the RIT would be a great place for you to be in, because you can build off your experience, but you can also create connections from within RIT, right? So I would say with your profile, it will be a great place to be in. Definitely.
So after receiving the admit, I started navigating through LinkedIn, searching for profiles for time program, and I've been able to find 2 people. So I'm talking with them as well. I guess you might know Bhuvish and one more girl.
Interesting.
Soul. Yeah.
True, but you don't have to restrict yourself to people from the time program, right? For
Understood,
instance, people in the consulting industry, you may have people in Deloitte with an MS with an MBA background, right? They might have had an MBA from RIT, right? So I would not restrict your connections only to time graduates. Opportunities
Understood.
come in many shapes and form, and that is why RIT is an excellent place to be, because you get to interact with different variety of alums.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. Look
Matt.
forward to coming.
Matt,
Right.
Yeah, you're welcome. We look forward to seeing you too.
Matt,
we-
one question that I want to make sure we don't miss regarding holding a 3-year bachelor's degree and pursuing courses from edX and Udacity. Do I meet the eligibility criteria for the MSBA program? So to respond to that, we do accept students with 3-year degrees. Typically, we're looking at, if it's from India, with a university that carries the NAAC level A designation, and the student with a first-class degree, we will admit those students. For the MSBA program, we require students to take a programming course in both R and Python programming, traditionally through Coursera, and we usually give the students the specific courses that are recommended. And the reason for that is typically Udacity and edX do not have the project-based learning in their certificate programs. But if you've got more questions on that specifically, feel free to email me. I'll put my email address in the chat box.
Okay, so we have time for one last question. If anybody has anything they would like to ask, then I'm just gonna throw up a slide here just on next steps for everybody. But any other questions that we have from the audience?
So
And I thought
I
that-
have a question for them, Matt.
Yes, go ahead. I had one
So,
too.
Yeah, somebody needs to be admitted. Somebody's in the waiting room.
I just did, I admitted.
Okay, thank you, perfect. So what interests you about RIT? What kind of encourages you to consider RIT? Anyone?
Yeah, the diversity that RIT has is one of the main factors. So like you said, the blend of tech and management. So when I was talking with Matt, so I had this concern as well. Should I go for engineering management or for time program? But then when I compared the curriculum, so I felt that my profile and my interests are more sort of aligned towards the management. And since time is offered by Saunders, so that was also a plus point for me. So that is why like RIT, also the co-op program is like awesome, very awesome. So that's why.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I have another student who says, I went to school for music business and IT, so I like the increase in performing arts and technology combination. Great, great.
Yeah, that's another, and Simona, we just met a couple days ago as well, but that's another big piece of RIT in the growth area in terms of where our scope is going. And to add to that, we are also growing within Saunders. So we have a building expansion. I had to mention this, Jackie would not be thrilled if I didn't. So, but that is coming within 6 to 8 months, ideally the end of 2023. It's going to double the size of our space. We're adding an event space, an auditorium. It's going to be 4 stories, more teamwork, research-oriented space for students and faculty. So that's another big piece of this that we're really excited about. And RIT as a whole is very committed to continuing to build on that. We have another massive building going in place called the Shed, the Student Hall for Exploration. And that's right near us as well. So there's a lot that RIT does from an investment standpoint within the facility component. So I think that's another big thing to keep in mind with, again, we alluded to this, that small college feel, but you have those large university resources. And that's, you know, a big, big piece of this as well.
Yeah, and Riddhi
And,
says she's interested in the because of the entrepreneurial hub opportunities that are available for that. Yes, Riddhi, that's very true. You get to rub shoulders with people like you with an entrepreneurial spirit and a passion, definitely. And you have a system in place to make that happen. That is not available in all universities, so it is very good. Sorry, Archana, you were saying something.
No, I was highlighting that same thing, but also to add on to entrepreneurial side of it. So let's say that I want to start a business, but I don't really know what for. Sometimes if you kind of reach out and advertise, you have other students coming to you. So we have engineers who created a product and now they need a business partner to kind of how to market it, how to finance it, and how to, you know, all that. So there is a lot of teamwork happening across the college because we have 17,000 students here, and you can work with any of them basically, not just limited to the Saunders population base. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, that was great conversation. And Jessica mentions just the opportunity as an employee to expand and progress in the career. And that's, you know, a big part. And that's a big part of why students ultimately end up pursuing this. So that's a huge component as well. All right. So to close, I just want to throw up a slide really quick, just on some next steps, just some contact info and things going forward. But for those that are in process of applying, again, we definitely would encourage you to, let me just see if I can get this full screen here. Can everybody see that full screen?
No,
Okay.
it's on a presenter
okay.
mode.
Presenter mode, yeah.
You
All right,
can
give me
do
one second.
duplicates, I guess.
Is that better?
No, it's still going
So-
back.
It's
All right.
readable.
It's readable though.
Sorry,
I just say work from where you are.
Yeah, I think it's readable, Matt. So it's definitely readable.
okay. So just a quick note on a few things. And again, I realize many of you are at different stages of the process. But again, if you have not started an application yet, that link is actually incorrect. I'll put that in the chat, but this should actually take you to our application page. Any RIT students or alumni, we will waive the application fee. If you do have questions, feel free to email gradbus@saunders.rit.edu. And then again, if you have other specific questions that you want to work through, certainly reach out to us and we can schedule a one-on-one meeting and appointment to follow up. But yeah, so we really appreciate everybody joining us today. And certainly don't hesitate to reach out if you do have questions, and we can certainly connect further. I'll stick around for a couple minutes in case there were anything else that folks had. but-
Somebody
Yeah,
raised their
Charity.
hands, Matt.
Charity has a question.
Okay. Charity, go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon. Hello.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Go ahead. Yes, we can hear you good.
Okay, actually, I joined very late, so I couldn't get much of the information that was discussed here. So I wanted to have a one-on-one meeting with any of you so that we can talk. I can ask a lot of questions that on this my mind before I continue with the application process. Because I tried applying the last time, but I couldn't due to one or two reasons. I think I started with my name, you asked of my name and other stuff, but going forward, I couldn't continue with the process, so I just stopped. And that is why. So I don't know how I can communicate to you one-on-one and then.
So Charity, what is your area of interest? Maybe it will be meaningful to meet the person based on your area of interest.
The question.
So what is your area of interest? Which discipline are you looking at?
Business.
But within
Business.
business, do you know more? Like finance, accounting, management, marketing, do you have?
Management. Yeah.
Charity, we can certainly meet one-on-one. That's, one of the things I do quite a bit. So I'll send you my email and we can certainly connect.
Okay, so would you share the email on the screen so that
Yeah, I'm sending it to you right now. Yep.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you, everybody. Thanks again for joining us. I will send out the recording in case folks had any other questions or wanted to follow up or look back on anything. But yes, thanks again for joining us, and have a good day. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.